On January 14, 2017, the first payload of 10 Iridium NEXT satellites is deployed into low Earth orbit. The replacement of the largest commercial satellite constellation has begun.
One of the biggest challenges we have is to try to replace the existing satellites with the new satellites without interrupting service for our customers. The replacement is properly called a delicate dance. The satellites have to maneuver in a way that they don't impact each other, but at the same time, we have to make sure that the next satellite is put into the constellation and the old satellite is removed. It does take some very precise maneuvering of both the satellites, just like someone performing an intricate dance would have to do.
It's a quite complicated process to replace the largest satellite constellation in the world that is performing a service for over 850,000 subscribers, and you have to replace it satellite by satellite and not miss a beat. The Satellite Network Operations Center, or SNOC, is the place where we maintain and operate all our satellites. This is where we fly our constellation from and have since the very earliest days of the system almost 20 years ago.
I never tell my wife what time I'm leaving, because every time I do that, I'm destined to be here all night. And it's just one of those things with this program. If you ever tried to say you're gonna leave early or make plans for the weekend, it's gonna get you. Half of my life, I've been working this program. It's gonna be just as exciting, because we're basically starting over again with a whole batch of new satellites that we get to learn and do different things with.
I got the right job right out of college, and I love what I do, and I've been able to do it for the last 18, 19 years now. If you come back in 20 years, I'll probably still be here and ready to retire on this program.
On peut dire que ma fonction se rapproche d'un chef d'orchestre, c'est-à-dire que j'ai en fait sous mes ordres ce qu'on appelle des bons musiciens qui doivent faire la bonne note et jouer du bon instrument au bon moment. Et tout ça, c'est écrit dans ce qu'on appelle un plan de vol. C'est un peu comme une partition de musique, c'est-à-dire qu'on écrit ce qu'on doit dérouler. À telle heure, on doit traquer tel satellite et faire telle action. Et c'est notre fonction principale, justement, c'est de la coordination. On réécrit, j'ai envie de dire, toujours ce plan de vol, constamment, pour l'adapter, l'optimiser.
I have 3 young children, and when I first told them that I control satellites, the picture that came in their mind is me sitting with a controller and controlling them. That would be probably glamorous to see, but not really practical in terms of how you actually have to command a satellite. When we first launched the original constellation, every satellite was the same. Every satellite had its the same hardware with the same software, and just like I'd say, just like people, over time they change. So each satellite developed its unique personality.
The satellites as children, and all your children, and how you love them all the same, and they all have different issues and problems that you have to deal with. Some are a little more problematic than others. Doesn't mean you dislike them, it just means they need a little more attention and a little more work, and it's not their fault. The ones that I think that have caused a lot of problem have also allowed us to apply engineering innovation to figure out ways to make them work. And that's kind of exciting as well.
Les satellites, je les vois un peu comme on appelle ça souvent des babies, une nouvelle génération remplace une autre, et effectivement, on est là pour les mettre, pour quelque part les élever. Quand on parle de raising, c'est exactement ça. Ils partent d'un état, quelque part, à la séparation, pour ensuite, au fur et à mesure, grandir et remplir en fait leur fonction dans la constellation. Donc c'est vraiment un apprentissage. On teste toutes leurs fonctionnalités qui, plus tard, leur permettront, quelque part, de maintenir la mission. Donc, voilà, c'est de l'éducation.
The process for putting these satellites into our existing mission constellation is called a slot swap. So what we do is we put the new, we call them next satellites, into the constellation, and we remove the existing old satellites, which we call Block 1 satellites, out of the constellation.
So our satellites are moving at 7.3 kilometers per second. It's at 16,700 miles per hour. It's very difficult to to visualize that type of speed, but it's moving awful fast. So it's like you're on a highway, you have two cars, if you're both going 55 and you're only 10 feet apart, you're okay. It's a very delicate problem. You have to make sure that nothing else is in the way on the trip up there. Satellite debris is a big problem for the Iridium satellite at our orbit. So we have to take extra caution for any time we're moving a satellite or any time our satellites are just moving through the atmosphere and something is coming through our orbits. So it's always a big concern, and we're very cautious to make sure that we check when we're moving a satellite that if there's anything intersecting our path that we might have to alter our plans.
Tout se joue en fait quelque part, j'ai envie de dire au millimètre près, parce qu'à ces vitesses-là, l'erreur elle n'est pas pardonnable.
So what could go wrong? Wow, there are so many things that could go wrong. One of the things that we have to be very careful about as we're replacing the satellites is to ensure that the next satellites don't have a collision with the Block 1 satellites. That would be catastrophic.
This course is a little bit different because this satellite is going into an existing hole, so we don't have to take something out. But the complications, nevertheless, are still there. So you still have a rendezvous that you have to do. So you have satellites flying ahead of you at different speeds, and there's one spot where there's a gap. So we're going to try to shoot into that gap and burn the satellite up and stick it into that slot that's unoccupied. And once it's in that mission slot, then what we'll do is we'll take the satellite crosslinks and connect it to the old Block 1 satellites and check that they all work.
At 8 a.m. precisely, the first satellite replacement begins. The delicate dance can now start.
Executing recount 400 on SV-130.
TNC ops, commanding completing on SV-151. Can we switch on SV-153?
The next day, the new satellite is moved 30 miles under its target position.
We switch on SV-153.
And we are green on 153.
Ops mission, copy. Command send.
Ops mission, we will not run CA-16 on SV-144. We need to wait slightly more.
On February 12th, at 3 a.m., the satellite is finally inserted into the constellation. The operation has taken 3 days of work and the combined efforts of 40 people from Thales Space and Iridium. After their replacement, the old generation satellites will be deboosted and deorbited one by one. They slowly begin their descent to be destroyed within the atmosphere.
Tonight, this is an exciting event. This satellite has been inserted in the constellations a couple of days ago. Everything has been tested. We just have to demonstrate that it is capable to receive an Iridium cell phone call. The Iridium next satellites will go over Toulouse. I am supposed to call Matt Desch from my Iridium cell phone, and it will demonstrate as soon as we will establish the contact that the satellite is working properly and is ready to work. Hello, Matt?
Hello?
Do you hear me?
Yes, hello. Oh, Bertrand.
You know what I am doing right now? I am calling you from the roof of my building in Toulouse. So going through our SV-106 right now.
It's live now?
Yeah, I mean, I am calling with an Iridium cell phone right now.
That's amazing. I love that you're calling from your roof. That's great.
So it's a lot of emotion. I can tell you.
The most exciting test I have ever done, calling you the first time the SV goes over Toulouse. It's really a great reward for us. Thank you very much, Matt.
Well done to everybody, and thank you for calling me. That's quite a historic moment. I'm glad to be part of it.
It's a great event, and probably the first communications in the Iridium Next constellations is a big achievement. We have been waiting for it for almost 10 years, so it just paves the way for a smooth deployment of the whole constellation.
This is an extremely important milestone because this is the first time that our replacement satellite is connected to the Block 1 constellation, the existing constellation, and now we're receiving data from 106 through our existing satellites. It's a moment that we prepared for many, many years, and to actually be here right now, I can't put into words how it feels. Our original constellation had a 5-year design life, and here we are 20 years later. So when people ask me how long do we think we'll be flying these next satellites, I think we'll be here for another 20 years at least.
On a passé une grande étape, mais je pense que la prochaine étape, c'est vraiment la constellation elle-même et le remplacement total de ces satellites-là.
So I feel like we can repeat it 6 more times without an issue.
We just have to keep on track and keep this great cadence and movement, continue to not have any big issues in terms of deployment, and get the network up as soon as we can.